Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Velo Podcast. Normally, you'd be greeted by the gentle croon of Mike Levy's voice. We all love Mike Levy. You're not getting that today, though. Today, you're getting me and Josh because Levy's out. And while he's out, we still have plenty to discuss. Isn't that right, Josh?
We do. I would bet, and I don't know this for sure, certain, but I would bet he is like riding through 2 nights and not sleeping, and God knows what Levy is up to.
Yeah, and God knows he didn't want to tell anyone because he didn't want to have to hold himself accountable for the ride that he was going to do.
Exactly.
Right?
He's probably breaking a bike too on top of it.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll hear all about that next week. This week, however, quick rundown of what we're doing. So we're talking about the Made show. Josh was there on the ground, finding the latest and greatest and some cool stuff, including probably his own bike on display too, right? We're going to talk about some news. So there's some stuff from Wahoo, new Shimano S-Phyre Gravel shoes, Josh's review of some headphones that were made by Zwift. And then we'll talk about Made, and then we'll close up with a little bit of preparation gear-wise for a crit that I'm doing on Labor Day. So before we dig into the Made show, let's talk about the news. So first things first, Wahoo firmware updates. Did you see any of this, Josh?
Yeah, so I mostly got it through actually 2 sources. One, I did get an email from Wahoo saying, we are working on it, we know. But then I also did hear from a friend who had lent out his old computer to somebody and then it didn't work.
Yeah.
So, but this is crazy that they're revisiting this, that they're not just like, well, too bad.
Yeah. So for folks who don't already know, which I would assume is a lot of you if you're coming here. So Wahoo users of early generation, first generation Wahoo Elemnt bolts and Roam computers, which came out in like 2017 or 2018 or something like that. They started to experience some crashes. Wahoo was really responsive, I would say, for a device that's 8 years old. And they push a firmware update to fix those devices. And this is kind of along the lines of Wahoo just kind of pushing a ton of updates recently. They've recently updated the latest generation of the Bolt and Roam computers, the 3rd gen that I've got on review. And they added native power broadcasting to the Wahoo Kicker roller, which I wasn't expecting, and I wouldn't rely on that for reliable power, certainly. But it's cool to see.
It's an easy way to get you on Zwift so that you don't it just eases things. I don't know that thing makes much sense to actually own, but if you do, there you go. It's a little easier.
Yeah. So really quickly, like we're not going to talk about it, frankly, because I don't have a 1st gen Wahoo device here right now, but updating it is supposed to be as easy as going to the Wahoo Elemnt app, which is different than the Wahoo app for the new devices that we have, the latest generation. But if you're having issues with crashing or losing or corrupting your rides, getting your rides corrupted, Wahoo's got a fix for you 8 years later. And I think that's pretty good. Okay.
All right. So should we talk? Okay. So should we talk shoes now, Alvin?
Yeah. So we should talk about the shoes. So Shimano has a new set of S-Phyre shoes. They have their road bike shoes, which I am personally a fan of as someone with block feet. And then their mountain bike shoes. But they also have this new set of gravel shoes, right?
Yeah. So we have both spent a little bit of time with them. And I was almost like, wait, didn't they already have this? But no, they did not. Explain, Alvin.
Yeah. So you thought that they were the Shimano RX9s, right? Like their top end gravel shoe. It's got a single BOA dial. It has a carbon sole, $300 US. So not quite at that S-Phyre tier. But now these new gravel shoes are different. They have 2 BOA dials. They're supposed to be just as stiff as the road shoes. It's the 12 out of 12 stiffness, whatever that means. But it's a 2-bolt.
Yeah.
And how they're doing that is they're we'll post some photos. We'll have a link down below to the review. But basically, they have this pontoon system that they're putting around your SPD 2-bolt cleat, which is supposed to add some stability. And that stability isn't there on the pedals, partially because there's basically no lugs on these cleats or on these shoes, unlike like a mountain bike shoe, right?
So you know what this shoe looks like, right?
What does it look like?
This looks a whole lot like the S-Works gravel race shoe.
What shoe is that? Is that the Recon? I thought that was a mountain bike shoe.
No, I think it's called the Recon, the S-Works Recon, and
Yeah.
it also has basically no lugs and a pontoon system. Specialized told me specifically that it's not really meant for walking, even though it's a 2-bolt.
Mm. Yeah.
It's these new S-Phyres are following that same path. This is a race shoe.
Man, so you're going to have to forgive me for this. So does it bolt on the same way where the pontoons go underneath the cleat on the
No, but
S-Phyres?
they're off to the side just the same way so that they stabilize like on the foot and everything.
Mm-hmm. And then those pontoons are replaceable, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
So this one with Shimano, they're supposed to be replaceable as well, but the difference is that they stay in line with the 2-bolt cleat. So they go underneath the cleat and then you bolt it in place.
Yeah, that is a little different. I mean, it seems quite interesting. I should tell people that I actually had to go up a half size. I wear a 44 in Shimano, and Shimano has been super consistent for me over the years, always the same size, and I did have to go up a half size in these. I'm told that the last is exactly the same, but the the heel cup is a little bit tighter, and they said, try kicking your foot back, which did help, but I'm always sensitive to, I don't want to lose a toenail when my foot swells, so on
Yeah.
long rides.
So what are they tighter in relation to? Because I haven't talked with Shimano about these. I've just started wearing them.
So they were shorter from heel to toe, basically. So my toe was
compared
right up
to
compared to the RX810 or whatever they are, the
okay.
previous.
The current gravel
Yeah,
shoe.
the current gravel shoe.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I think I immediately asked, like, is the last the same? And the answer
Mhm.
was, yes, it is, which tells me I could probably get away with wearing the same size, but it didn't really seem, I would have been nervous,
Mhm.
100, 200 miles on that, and I would have felt like I would have lost a toenail.
Yeah. So you went up half a size then at this point.
I did.
Um, I assume that you haven't had the time to ride them though, because you just got them so recently, or have
I
you
have
spent any
not.
time?
Yeah, I got them yesterday morning, and Monday is my rest day, so I'll take them out tonight.
Yeah. Okay. I'd be curious to hear if you would have taken these over your existing shoes that you took on that Zwift Summit 200. But obviously, we
I
don't
mean,
know
my
yet.
sense is yes.
Which,
So I took the S-Works, not so much because those are my favorite shoes, but because I hadn't had the S-Works in quite a long time. I had been running the Recon 3.0 or
mhm,
1.0, whatever it's so Shimano Specialized does not consider that the next model down, but it's a different model, essentially the same but different. It's just as stiff, but it has more lugs, so it's a little bit heavier. It's more of an
mhm.
adventure shoe, easier to walk, and so I had been wearing that. I also really like the Trek race gravel shoes.
Yeah.
And I took the S-Works just because I was like, well, I haven't had these for a while, and I have been really enjoying the latest S-Works stuff on the roadside. So I'm sure this will be good. It was totally fine, which for that amount of riding, not having pain, I guess is a positive thing. But I think I probably would have taken these or the Treks if I had to do it
Huh.
again.
Yeah. Do you usually get along with Shimano shoes? At least the latest generation of S-Phyre shoes?
Yes, I have been pretty happy with Shimano shoes in general. I think they're really high quality. I always do feel they use that sort of like a burrito, like they wrap over instead of a
Yeah.
more traditional tongue.
Yeah.
And I always feel like I can feel the edge of the inner flap a little bit.
Oh, on like the inside edge of your foot? Like the
Yeah,
top of your foot? Interesting. Thicker socks, my
which,
guy. That's what you
but
need.
I need to stick with the Aero socks.
Yeah, and they don't come in thick boy sizes or
No, they do
uppers,
not.
obviously not.
Yeah,
Okay, so a bit of background about me, because I have had, I think, more experience on these shoes. I've ridden these, I think, 5 times at this point, like a lot recently. On a road ride, gravel ride, not on a mountain bike because I don't have a mountain bike. But first thing that I noticed, you pull it out of the box and the upper is like the most supple Shimano upper I think I've ever
I noticed that
experienced.
too.
Yeah, just really pliable, and it's got
Yeah.
this like texture, like this. faux leather graining that I was kind of put off by at first, but it's pretty cool, even in this white one that I've got.
You got white? Oh my!
Yeah.
Come on!
Let's go.
I got like a green and a black.
Yeah.
Everybody, brands that are listening, white shoes, white helmet, please.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you normally don't want white shoes on dirt, and this is my first set of 2-bolt shoes that are white, but the white looks pretty sick on dirt, and when your feet get dirty,
you want white on dirt because then, unlike a road shoe where you want it pristine, on a gravel shoe, if you're wearing white, you're like you want it almost black, but it started out white. Like what did you just do battle with? And you're like, I don't know, but look at these shoes, man.
Yeah, but I can't keep taking a magic eraser to these shoes though. That's the thing. Like,
you just hose them down, and they're not
they
don't
get fully clean.
Like
Yeah,
that's fine.
No,
it's
I
not
want
a road
them to
shoe.
be clean. Okay, all right. I've had, in case anyone is into shoe culture at all, which I'm not really, like, I had a white pair of Nike Air Force Ones, and I kept those Johns clean. There are people who will like want to scuff them up and that type of thing. That's not me. Like, I'm keeping them clean, and that's what I like to do with these too. So anyways, I think after riding, the pontoons are pretty cool. Like, they do add a noticeable amount of stability, at least compared from the shoes that I'm coming from, which I do have a set of Shimano S-Phyre mountain bike shoes, which I don't get along with super great for one reason or another. The previous generation, a little bit too wide in the forefoot, even though I have a wide forefoot. I've been rocking $160 Northwave Hammer Plus 2-bolt shoes as my like go-to 2-bolt shoe, and I really like those. I think these are my new go-tos. The only trouble I've had so far is that Shimano in the press release says that these shoes work best with their latest generation of SPD pedals, specifically the XTR and XT pedals.
Right.
I have a set of the XTR pedals. They work great here. However, I do have 2 other sets of pedals. Well, 3. I can only talk about 2 right now. Both of them I'm having trouble unclipping. Like,
really?
That's a problem. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. So I really like Look SPD pedals.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to start by trying those out because those pedals are great.
It's not an issue of them unclipping in general. It's that they unclip too easily. Like, I would rotate my heel ever so slightly, just as you're moving around, and they would unclip, which is really bad because I tried to go to sprint, like up a hill, and then my foot came out. So the review comes out in a few days, so I'll mess with the tension on the pedals. But I've experienced that on 2 sets of pedals. One of them being the Favero Asioma MX2 pedals, and then another set being a set of probably 25-year-old Shimano M910 pedals that I got at like a bike kitchen a long time ago, and they work great. They're awesome.
My guy, I'm telling you, the Look pedals, the Look SPD pedals are fantastic. You should try them out.
Is it because they're wider?
Yeah, they're there's more of a platform to them.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
They have a surround around the thing.
Curious. Okay. Well, the pontoons help out with the platform, I found. Sure. Like, they add some stability. Price on these, $480 US, 420 euros, 420 British pounds.
Yeah, what are we thinking about shoe pricing right now? Because here's why it came up to me. I was at we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I was at Made. I talked to a brand. They told me about some shoes, and they were like, "Yeah, they're this much money." And I was like, "Well, last year that would have been expensive, but now that's it's like $600 shoes, not even a thing." So what are we thinking here?
I mean, I'm of the mindset that most things in the bike industry are too expensive. As good as the entry level stuff has become, like, it's all too expensive. However, these are S-Phyres. You'd expect them to be their top shelf shoe. I really like these shoes so far, unclipping aside, because I don't have any issues in the Shimano native shoes, but I wish they were like $450.
Well, so that's the thing, is that it was like last year, right? The premium price was about $450. Like that was high end, the best of the best. And then you would have brands like Q36.5 that were 500 or 600, but those are like smaller brands. It makes sense. But like major brand, best of the best, you're at about 450. All of a sudden that jumped. And it jumped by a lot, and it's kind of a bummer, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it's the same question, like discussion that we've had with like Specialized recent lineup of shoes, like the $600 Aries or the $700 Remcos, what have you. Like, are any of these like worth the price? This is a really good shoe, and I'm really happy with it. And I think it's going to be like a regular rotation shoe for me. Just edging out the $160 North Waves, which I have loved.
Yeah, I think so. I have actually worn those North Waves, and ironically, I did the Zwift Summit 200 recently, and it was years prior when the last time I did the Zwift Summit 200 that I wore those new North Wave shoes, and my foot was in agony. They were too soft for me.
Oh yeah, that is a thing. So you've got to figure out if you need that issue. But it hasn't, like, the last time I did, no, what was it? 2023, I did 300 miles on gravel, and I did it on Shimano's first gravel shoe, the XC5, the lace ups.
Okay.
And I didn't have any issues. And then I rode S-Phyres the year after with a stiffer carbon sole. I had some issues. Anyways, I don't know. You don't have to spend a lot of money to find the right shoe, but the right shoe might cost a lot of money.
Yes, that is a very good way to say that, because there are some really excellent mid-range considered shoes that are like every bit as good as these top-end shoes. But also, I do think the top-end shoes, although it's a bummer for me to see the pricing suddenly jump by like $150, they are really good. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and these are pretty good too. Expect to see the review down below. They'll be up shortly after this podcast is up. Okay. Talking about weird stuff, headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You pulled up randomly, like you were just like, yeah, check out these headphones I got from Zwift.
I should have worn them today.
You should have. Where are they? Are they downstairs in your cave or whatever?
Yeah, they're downstairs.
In a different cave than...
In a different cave.
Yeah, than your sound isolated one. Okay. All right. 50 hours claim battery life. It's got built-in ANC. They look like over-ear headphones because they are over-ear headphones.
Yeah.
What are these Zwift headphones, and why are they different from any other over-ear headphone?
Well, so here's the thing. First of all, they're made by H2O Audio, and then they're just Zwift branded. Nothing wrong with that at all. And these are a regular release. They don't cost more, as far as I know, than the regular H2O one. They're just like, hey, I ride Zwift, so I want the orange one, basically. And I am working on an upcoming buyer's guide that'll launch sometime in the fall, which will be best headphones for cycling. And I have worked on those sorts of guides in the past. And there's basically, so there had been one Adidas, or should I say Adidas? There had been one Adidas headphone that had fabric ear cups that were washable. But basically, if you're like, you know what, I really want an over-the-ear headphone, which obviously this is not for riding outside, this is riding for inside. But if you really want an over-the-ear headphone, nothing else exists, because all of those headphones that you see, they're like sort of splash-proof, things like that. And maybe they'll be okay. You see a lot of that for like, you know, Beats products and things for like going to the gym, but they're not expecting the level of sweat that you can generate on a Zwift session. And so there was the Adidas, and those have now gone off the market. So if you want an over-the-ear headphone, this is it. And these headphones are just meant to work with, you're not going to kill them when they get sweaty. And they have 50 hours of battery life. They actually come with two different ear cups. One of them is silicone, and one of them is like pleather or whatever, like your normal feeling headphone over the ear headphone ear cup.
Yeah.
And that's the basic sales proposition.
So is the idea, so this is a set of over-ear headphones for real sweaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the real
Yeah.
sweaters out there. So did you find any disadvantages to the silicone? Because I would imagine that would be a lot more durable against like caustic sweat. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. But they're also hot. It is hot and it is like kind of sticky against your skin and a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I actually was really happy with the pleather ones. They feel quite comfortable.
Uh-huh.
Which is not to say that the silicone is like uncomfortable. It's just like you're not gonna want to use that for regular life. If you're like, I'm going on a plane and I need my headphones, you're going to want to switch to the other ones, which then leaves
Yeah.
you switching back and forth, which I think is kind of like, okay, now I have to bring 2 ear cups with me is kind of a weird thing. It's not perfect, I would say. And the other thing about these headphones that is maybe not so perfect is that the audio quality is not quite there. It's just,
Really? Is it different
yeah.
based on the ear cup that you're using? Silicone versus?
No, not at all, because the driver inside is the same. So it's
Okay.
just a matter
Yeah.
of how it rests against your head. And I mean, it's fine, but it's just a little bit tinny and it just doesn't, it's not like, I actually have those Adidas headphones, but I also have some other over the ear headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And if you jump back and forth, those, like, there is a real, like, there's like a sound stage that
Yeah.
feels really pretty amazing. And these H2 audios, they don't quite have that. And it's fine. But it's just not as good. And the headphones I use the most are the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say those have better sound quality too. Although those, when you're riding on Zwift, will get a little they feel like they want to fall out, even though they don't usually, but
'Cause sweat.
yeah, 'cause sweat. Like, so
Yeah.
outside, if you were to ride with those headphones outside, they actually stay in just fine.
Yeah.
You could use one headphone, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But when you're inside and you really get sweaty, then they don't feel like they're as secure. So the over the ear headphones do feel more secure. You're definitely not going to fall off. But the sound quality is just not quite perfect.
Yeah. Should you expect perfect? I mean, I think you're more of an audiophile than I am, and you know the market of this better than I do because I am just I just have like AirPods Pro and I call it a day.
Those are really good. Having tested all, like, so many headphones for this purpose, the the Apple AirBuds Pro are some of the best. The Google Pixel, the Apple AirBuds, the Pro version, and then you get into like specific use cases. And I could talk about that, but that's not your question right now, which is, should you expect it's funny that you're calling me an audiophile because I'm not at all, but I
Well,
have
you said
tested a
you
lot.
refer to drivers inside of the
It's
thing. I'm
true.
like, oh yeah, okay.
It's
You're
true
more
because
like,
over the years of testing this stuff, I'm like, all right, well, I got to get into it, and
yeah.
I have, and they're just. I think what it comes down to is what your expectation is. Do you want to buy a special headphone for a specific use case? And then if you're going to do that, well, then in that case, the shocks, the bone conduction headphones,
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
have as good of audio quality, but you expect that. You can hear,
Yeah.
and they are really good for riding outside. And then you have to decide, okay, do I want a special headphone for inside? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you can swing that, this is it. This is the one. This is like, I want to ride inside. I want sound isolation. I want to know that they're not going to die because of sweat. Well, then this is your only choice. Um, but if you're like, well, you know what, I'm going to have to push in my headphones every so often. And in that case, then you can open up a wide range of true wireless. Or there's also the like the beats that go like around your
Yeah.
ear.
Yeah.
And those you could use, like those kind of headphones you could use in regular life, and then you could use on the trainer just fine. So you have one set of headphones. Um, and if you're willing to compromise a little bit on that sound isolation, the sound quality is better.
Okay. So, I mean, for $249 though, like I'm not expecting great quality. I would hope that these are durable. I think that's the big thing. Like,
Yeah, that's the
will
big
they
thing.
last in sweat? And then secondarily, will they feel uncomfortable if I'm riding on Zwift for 45 minutes? Which it seems like if you're
I
using the
think
silicone ones, they would be uncomfortable.
I don't know that I would say that. They're a little like when you put them on, you're like, oh, this is kind of hot and a little uncomfortable. But when you're in the Zwift zone, when you're like, and I think that's your question about the sound quality, right? Like, what are you expecting? So you get on your trainer and you're like, let's say you do a race and you want like good, you just put on some headphones. These are going to be totally fine. It's just going to be a fairly specialized use case.
Yeah. Well,
Also, are we calling? I'm sorry. Let's talk price again. Are we calling $250 for headphones? Not that much, because I'm like,
I have no idea. I have no context of this, which like I'm thinking of like I guess the one thing that I've seen a lot because I see people wearing it is like the Sony XM5s, for example. And I
yeah,
think those are like $400.
that's
I'll
true.
correct it if I'm wrong down below. But those I'm sure, I mean, those are supposed to be, at least for like general purpose over your headphones, those are supposed to be pretty good. But again, I'm not
Yeah,
an
those
audio
are
side. I
good.
don't know
And there's a
anything.
Jabra that's about the same price. There are some. I'm blanking on the word. They're an old school speaker company, but they make good
Sennheiser.
stuff. Yeah, Sennheiser has a $250 headphone
Hmm.
that definitely has better sound quality than these, but would absolutely not last on Zwift. You
Yeah.
would you would just destroy them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it very well could be that we're over analyzing these headphones that are exactly the same and they just got a Zwift like coat of paint on top. But I don't know. If you're riding on Zwift a lot, I think these seem like, according to your review, that they're worth looking at.
Yeah, it's basically you just have to ask yourself, do I want over-ear headphones on Zwift? And then if your
Hmm.
answer is yes, then the decision tree is basically like, okay, buy these. That's it.
Okay. Or use your existing headphones, which uh, is probably my answer. I just keep using my AirPods.
Well, but yeah, but that's if you are it's if you want over-ear headphones.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're willing to do earbuds, then yeah, there's lots of choices. And if you're putting earbuds against the over the ear, then you might not choose them.
Hmm.
But if you're like, you know what, I really want over ear for whatever reason you have, there's no other choice. And these are, and also you're not going to get these and be like, oh, I hate them. You're just going to be like, there's some compromises here, but like, this is the choice.
Okay. Cool. All right. We've spent a long time talking about these headphones. Let's
It's true. It's true.
unless there's anything else you want.
Winter is coming, sadly.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah. For a lot of people. Not for me though.
yes.
So fingers crossed.
Hate.
Fingers crossed we have another fantastic winter.
Uh,
Okay. Speaking of where you live, which is in Portland,
yeah.
this past weekend we just had the Made bike show.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's the third year that's been going on. It is a replacement for the Handmade Bicycle, North American Handmade Bicycle Show, or NABS, if you've seen that effectively. There's still other alternatives out there in the US. I think the Philly Bike Show is the big one that I think about a lot.
And there's a European bespoke show
Bespoked.
or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
there's a whole
bespoke.
slew of those, and those are cool. But this is in your backyard. You can't avoid it. You got to go. It's your second year that you've been there.
Yeah.
I have a few questions. I think first things first. If you've never been to the Made Bike Show, what's the general vibe there?
The general vibe is it's funny because it's so Portland. It's so like hipstery. It's so
Hmm.
like the cool kids. It's on and it's like it's in this old. I think it's a shipbuilding factory, maybe
Hmm.
airplane, but I think shipbuilding, because it's on the river and it's like dark and there's like string lights and it's a pain to like take pictures of anything for press. But like
Yeah.
you wander around and like everything is like cool and hip and yeah, it's very Portland.
Yeah. Okay. So, what about, obviously, this is a bike show. What's the vibe of the
Yeah.
bikes there? What kind of bikes would you expect?
Yeah, so the bikes are like again being very Portland. There's a lot of like gravel it doesn't say that. Nothing about made says that it should be gravel, and yet the majority of stuff tends to be all road or gravel or weird. A lot of times it tries to be like sort of weird. Like Moots launched a bike there, or it's like kind of soft launch of a bike that's like, they didn't want to call it a monster gravel, but it's a monster gravel. 2.4 tires, 100 mil front fork, and like that kind of thing is exactly what you can expect from Made.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you would hope is going to be that way, because it's different than what you're going to get from a standard bike brand. Like, this is a place for the builders to show off, like,
Yes,
either innovation or ideas or anything that's new that a customer may have requested, because a lot of the bikes are like made for a customer, right?
it's true.
Okay, so as I've said, this is your second year here, third year overall. Are there any big changes that you've noticed?
Well, I think we had talked about whether we were gonna like, what did this mean? Like, this is often a leading edge for the industry,
Mhm,
and it could just be my like my like vision of things, but I actually saw a lot of road bikes, and I think that there was a big push of road bikes, but often with a simplicity to them, which I think that sort of, if we're looking at, does this lead to the industry? Does this talk about industry trends? I think maybe. What if the pendulum is swinging back to road, but in a simple way? So what was the original like gravel bike push? Maybe the original gravel bike push was just like a simplicity of going off road and
mhm,
like that romanticism of doing things in a simple way. And then, but it turns out not everyone actually has the places to do those rides or wants to do those rides. So like, you bring it back to road, but you keep it simple.
Okay, I have thoughts, but before we do that, I want to talk about. We'll get back to it. I want to talk about the bikes that you saw, or some of the key bikes that you saw, because there's so many builders there. Um, yeah. Okay.
I should say before I get into this, there are so many builders there, but there's also not. Like, it is dwarfed by Sea Otter, which is
Hmm.
already not like as big as Eurobike, but you could easily go to every single person, every single booth, like in a day, and look at
Yeah.
every single one, have a short conversation. Like, it's that small, which is not a bad thing. It just
Yeah.
is a thing.
But
Um,
but Sea Otter has Ford and Airstream with booths,
yeah,
whereas this
it's
one
true.
you've got
It's very focused.
I don't know. Yeah, you've got builders that are like, some of them are probably struggling and get the money to get there, which makes it a little bit more sweet to me, that like,
Yeah,
this is the one place you're going to do it, whereas Sea Otter. Anyways, all right, favorite bikes. I remember one of them is number 22 Reactor, right?
yeah.
Which you saw
So
last year.
we did see it last year. It won, I think, Best of Show last year, and I'm pretty sure it won Best of Show this year.
Yeah.
This thing is, so I actually just recorded a short piece of video to add to, because I did video at the event, and I let the builders talk about their bikes, and I realized that Bryce, who like is behind number 22 and has built this bike, he has talked about it so much that he sort of undersold it. But here's what I said in the video. Here's what I like to say, like my conceptualization of this bike is, it's almost like a steampunk tank. What if carbon fiber just didn't exist? And then, but we were still in the current time period. So you want to make the fastest aero race bike you possibly could, but carbon fiber is just not a thing. So how do you do it? Well, you 3D print titanium. That's how you do it. And this thing looks, it's so sweet. It's so high tech. It's so like future forward. If you're into that, like this, you're gonna love this. And then this year, what they've done is that they're a step closer to production. Last year, they 3D printed it as the entire bike was one piece that they 3D
Which is
printed.
crazy, mind you. Well,
Insane.
was it all one piece? I thought I thought it was like three of them or something like that. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure the whole. There were like other pieces, but I think the whole like frame, like the bulk of
yeah,
the thing, was one piece.
which is
And they
crazy
said
regardless.
the problem with that is that, if there's a mistake, in a 40-hour print, then like you're just screwed. And so there's that. Plus I apparently couldn't like hold the tolerances that they wanted in individual pieces. So they've now broken it into 9 pieces that they then weld back together. They've also like figured out how, when you see the one piece handlebar, it's really it's like a cover. It's not one piece. And the chrome part that you can see like in the stem, and the like, it's a T shape for the middle of the handlebar and the stem. They're like, you lift that up, and then there's all the parts inside where the cables go through that. And anyway, I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but all of this is like, it's a step closer to production. And Bryce thinks that he is still holding for first quarter 2026, I think is what they said. But probably 2026. And I was like, definitely want to ride this. I said it like 4 times in the time I was shooting.
Do you think they'll take the hint? I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they know I want to ride this.
Yeah, and they're saying, get in line, pal. Behind everyone who wants to pay for it first.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I do have a few questions about that reactor. So
yeah, let's hear it.
Because I didn't know it was different pieces. And maybe this is a question for number 22. But if they're making it into 9 different pieces, I would imagine that means that the bike is heavier than before.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about the weight.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine this is not a super light bike. I mean, it's a titanium aero. Like, it just can't be. I just didn't ask because I was like, yeah, if you're like, how do I make a light bike? This would not be on that list.
Yeah. So there is I saw the bike not at Made last year, but I saw it a week after. There's a bike shop here in the Bay Area called Above Category. They had something called the Invitational, and number 22 brought their reactor. Gorgeous. Everything about it just like beautiful. Like, you can always just look around, there's something like another unique detail going on, and the finishing was really cool and all of that. Not very lightweight. Which,
so they did even more like of those little finishing details, which Bryce was slightly, in a way, embarrassed about. He's like, I got a little carried away, but it like says number 20. It's like engraved, or it's like it's raised up in number 22 in the arrow chainring, and in the like bottom of the fork it says number 22 again, and it's all like raised up, and it's like just craziness. But not light. Okay. It's not going to be light. Come on.
Man, yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be in a lightweight bike and everything anyways, especially when you're looking at these. Okay. We'll have all of these linked down below. Josh has fantastic photos and video of it. Go check it out. Next one up. What was the next?
Yeah, so next one up. So I wanted to include this as my surprise favorite because, okay, you guys know me. I'm Mr. Aero, high tech, everything. Well, then there's Ira Ryan. And Ira Ryan has this very classic steel road bike, external cables. And this is the thing that I like. I probably shouldn't be drawn to this bike. And yet, so as I have said before, I went to art school. I have an art school background. I have an art degree. And to hear Ira talk about this bike, I just love the story. It's such a good story. He's like, when I was a kid training, for youth cycling, I lived somewhere, rural that had barn swallows. And he's like, I used to be on these long rides and I would watch the barn swallows move and flow in the air. It's like almost like a liquid, if you've ever seen how that happens. And he said, that's how this bike rides. When you ride it, it's like it moves and it flows. And he's like, I don't know why people are against the cables. It's like liquid. They just flow at the front of the bike. And I'm like, sold, take my money. It's just like, he's like, this is a classic steel race bike. And I'm like, yes, I love it. And this particular one was patterned, like he took inspiration from the Bullitt Mustang in whatever movie that is, the Steve McQueen movie, Bullitt. I don't know
Bullitt.
why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, I wasn't going to say it. So the paint looked almost black. Like inside it was black for sure.
Yeah.
And even in the sun, you were like, is that black? But no, it's like a dark green.
Yeah.
And then there were little highlights, like a rendition of one of the bridges in Portland on the seat tube, and his barn swallow head badge is like this gorgeous piece of chrome. And yeah, this bike was just, unexpectedly my favorite of the show.
Really? So it doesn't seem like it's just craftsmanship. It's a combination of the craftsmanship, story, and then ties to where you live. Could that be it?
I don't know that I don't care about where I live. It's the craftsmanship and the story.
I do.
It's the
I care where I live.
when you do it, when you have when you go through art school, like a big part of art school is sitting in these critiques. Like you get these projects and they go, okay, do your thing. Here's the project, right? Whatever the assignment is. You go off and you do it. And then it's critique day. You sit down, everybody shows their thing. You stand up in front of everybody and you tell a story. And the people that are the best at telling that story, like that's the lifeblood of those situations, is you tell the story. And if Ira Ryan was at critique day and he stands up and goes, this is like barn swallows. Well, what are you going to say to that? Well, I don't know. It looks a little out of, like, the thing here is the widget is a little out of place. It's like, no, shut up. It's a barn swallow. It flows. Like, I just love it.
Yeah, man. It is undeniably, like, it is just like a standard looking bike. I mean, it's a standard looking bike, but in like a good way. I really like the like silver details and that type of thing. And yeah, I don't know. I understand it. I get the hype. We'll have a link down below again, guys. Next bike. What are we talking about? Was it the
Mosaic?
The Mosaic, which is the GT0. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, GT0.
Yeah.
So this is like a high dollar Uber, like it's $25,000. They're going to make, well, it's $11,000 for the frame. They're going to make, but a built bike is around $25,000. There's only 25 that they're going to make. And the big innovation here is that they've gone carbon. No, I don't mean fully carbon. Come on, that was clickbait. But they have used a carbon seat post and mast topper. I think they call it a seat mast, but it's just the tube from the down tube to the where the saddle mounts is carbon. And then it fits in, there's like, that means you have to create like hollowed out pieces for that to go through. And, it's a feat of engineering. So it's a cool bike. There was a lot of hype around this bike. And I loved Aaron Belchuk, who is the founder, I believe, of Mosaic. He was like a great guy to talk to and really like understood bikes in a way that it's funny to say not every builder really understands. I think it's more like some builders talk about the process of building, and Aaron was like talking more about the ride, which is always cool.
Yeah, that's always felt like a focus of Mosaic, just as much the ride quality as it is the craftsmanship, I suppose. This isn't the first like builder we've seen that's integrated a carbon seat mast or seat tube into their bike.
And that was part of my, like, as I'm listening to everything about this bike, I'm like, okay, but Scarab showed this last year.
Yeah, but they're not doing it in titanium.
That's true. They're not doing it in titanium. Does that matter necessarily?
I don't know. They're also, I love Scarab. Scarab does fantastic stuff. But they also don't have the dropouts that this Mosaic has. This has just
That's true. The
beautiful
Mosaic has
CNC
beautiful
machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like, if you're getting a bike like this, it seems like it nails basically every detail.
It does nail every detail. But this was my thing about this bike, is that as much as it is, here's the problem. I said this in the article a little bit, but to be as successful as Mosaic is, you have to do what you do perfectly, and you have to execute it every time. And that's not what some small frame builder really wants to do. Some small frame builder, what they want to do is go, ooh, I have this shiny thing, and they want to go off and do a thing. And instead, Mosaic has to execute every single time, and they have to be incredibly, like, when you see a Mosaic, you know it's a Mosaic. But also in media, that becomes a little bit of a liability, because I go, I already saw that. It's a little hard, so it was a little bit difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, this is the most amazing bike ever, even though it is a really cool bike. I also got to ride it just ever so slightly.
Okay.
And my God, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What can you notice from a 90-second? Was it 30 seconds
I
around the
think,
parking lot?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, well, what happened is I had shot it the first day and I didn't like the hero image. So I came back the next day and I was like, hey, I just need one shot of this bike. And they were like, yeah. And they just handed me the bike. And so I took it out and then I rode to where my little setup was. And I was like, and here's the thing, when a bike like this, when it's this good, and I think you'll back me up on this. You get on a bike and it's this good and you're like, yeah, right away. 30 seconds, it is
Yeah.
different.
Man. Okay. All right. I would like to talk about Artifact, which
That's
you got to
right.
talk
I
about.
almost forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell
Yeah.
us all about Artifact because you're
Okay.
really into this one.
I mean, there's not too much there. It's a dude named Daniel Yang who's based here in the Bay Area, tied in with Newhouse Cycle Works, which is itself a frame builder. Yeah, really cool YouTube channel. You should go check it out. And the latest YouTube video is about this fork that he produced, which is like the slimmest and like most svelte, like carbon fiber fork I've seen in quite some time, where it's got like the crown of the fork kind of just like juts out like a lugged fork, like a really high-end lugged fork from a NJS track bike. Like, I don't know, it's got this beautiful shelf to it and the crown is really short and it's slim looking, and it's got flat mount brake mounts, which is just like, how often do you see that? And so kind of like you perhaps with the Ira Ryan, I was kind of enthralled by the story behind the fork. It makes me
It's a
want the fork
fantastic
myself.
story.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily want the fork, or I don't even necessarily have a thing to put the fork on, but I want the fork.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
So this whole bike was crazy to me because so I have my friend who actually helped me out at Made quite a bit, but he works for Smith. He's an industrial designer. We sort of connect on design things, and he's also into metal bikes. He has a Moots and he likes classic lines, and he is like talking to me about how head tubes are too big recently.
mhm.
And he's like, they're just too big. To get the internal routing, it doesn't match. And I'm kind of like, what are you talking about, man? It seems fine. Like, I don't know. It's fine. Like, whatever. And then, like, you get Daniel comes in and goes, nope, let me show you. And you're like, oh, well, now I know what you're talking about. Because when you look at this, you're like, oh, well, that's obviously better and how it should be.
Yeah, yeah,
It just matches everything. Just like when you look at his bike, it's just thin, round tubes, and then the fork just matches perfectly. It just is so good.
yeah. I mean, hopefully, I'm sure he's got to make money back on the deposit for the molds on this fork, but uh, I would hope to see this fork a little bit more on other other builders' bikes.
Yeah,
Because it looks really good, and I haven't seen a fork that looks quite this slim and tapered since like a wound up fork, if you've ever seen those from like 20 years ago, with like
yeah. There's just
with
nothing
that
like it,
weird crown. Yeah.
and it's such
Um,
a bike nerd thing because it's so subtle. It's
yeah.
so like you don't even notice it's wrong until you
Uh-huh.
see when it's right, and then you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Um, last thing here. Uh, general trends. So we've already touched on the big one, I think, that you've noticed is that there are a lot of road bikes there, right?
Yeah. I think, and I almost feel like this Mosaic is even a better example than the Ira
Mhm.
Ryan one, because Mosaic is a bigger brand and they're, more well known, but they're still not like they're not huge. And
Mhm.
so, what does that bike show us? There's a simplicity to that bike, right? It's a road bike, and it's clean. Like it's got internal routing, it's got the sort of modern things that you expect, but there's just some clean simplicity to it. And it's lightweight rather than aero.
Mhm.
And I think as much as I am into aero, I do think there's probably a pendulum swing happening there where people are like, okay, all aero bikes look the same and we're bored. Like, how much faster can you really get? Although
Yeah.
factor in the Factor in particular goes like, hold my beer, we can do it better.
Yeah,
But
it's nuts.
still, there's like for the regular person, I think there's a certain pendulum swing there to like, enough with this already. I just want a bike that like has the modern trappings, but also harks back to something more classic. And I think maybe that's where the future of things were going. It was also interesting to see Cadex there trying to stand away from being a house brand at all. Now, I don't think they really are. If you know anything about Cadex, they're really not a house brand.
Which, for folks who don't know, it is tied to Giant. And so a lot of people will equate Cadex to the equivalent of S-Works or something like that, right? Like,
yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah.
But they're really beyond that and always have been. But then now they're also like, hey, we're going to support the custom frame building world. They have handlebars and bottle cages and wheels, of course. The one thing they do not have is a fork. That feels like they're really kind of missing something there. But maybe they'll come out with that. But Envy does this. So Envy, like most small custom brands, if they're making high-end stuff and they need carbon bits, then they're going to Envy. And Cadex is like, we're here too.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a move to Cadex or a move away from Envy?
For the smaller brands, that's an interesting. I think
for the builders,
there's not a lot of choice, right? And the market always, I think, will respond to choice.
Yeah.
So if you don't think about, if you leave Cadex off, like, it's hard to really, there's just not a lot of those really, if you're building a bike, I'm trying to think of the right bike, but something that's really high end, but also small. So all the little pieces are going to be like high end, but they're not like, I mean, they're not crazy like Daniel, and they're not developing a fork. So they're going to go out to, English Cycles is a perfect example. English Cycles, they make really amazing bikes. And I actually shot one of his bikes, but, and they will use an Envy carbon fork, an Envy handlebar, Envy stem, Envy wheels, and now Cadex is offering another choice.
Interesting. Okay, so we've alluded to road bikes being a general trend. I've always felt one of the reasons that we go to shows like this is because it is a predictor. It helps predict the future. It helps forecast the future. I think about going to like the North American Handmade Bicycle Show when I was a teenager in like 2013 and seeing all these bikes with drop bars with like big mountain bike tires and wondering what the heck was going on. A few years later, boom, gravel bikes all over the place. Is there anything here that feels like it could be the next thing? Or is it just that road bikes are back?
I think I'm going to put my finger on road bikes are back is what it is. It turned out that people actually don't have a lot of gravel roads in most situations, and they're like, actually, we just want a road bike, but we want a simplicity to it.
All right. You heard it from the source, Josh, Mr. Road Bike himself, but also saying, putting his journalist cap on, his Velo cap on, and saying, road bikes are back. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about road with regard to Made? Otherwise, we're going to pivot away.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm like getting out so many Made things, so check out the site. There'll be a ton of that. I am also working on something with YouTube, hopefully, and we're gonna have a lot of content there. It's an overwhelming amount, and each one is like really beautiful, including my Melee. I'll have some coverage there too.
Your personal Melee.
Yes, and I have to say what Ira Ryan said about that bike. So I walked it up to so my Melee is painted by Black Magic. They're a local shop. It is a show quality bike. So it was at Made, and I walked it up to Ira Ryan because I was talking to him about something, and he goes, "That bike is hideous, but in the best way."
There you go.
And I was like, yeah, that's perfectly. It's like if you don't want to toe, this is another art school thing. Don't kind of dabble in something. If you're going to go hideous and bright and like punchy, you got to go all the way. Don't
There
just
you
do a
go.
little.
Yeah.
So that's
Did he
what I've
say
done.
that to you before or after he won you over with his bike?
Oh, that was after. That was the next day. I
There
had
you go.
I had that one there.
Yeah. You got to win someone over with the bike first before you can tell them their bike looks hideous, right? So
It's all right. I understand. It's a thing.
Okay, let's talk about me now. I love talking about me.
Yeah, everybody
away
does.
from the maid show, and this is just the last little bit before we wrap up here today. Last race of the season for me, and I wanted to like bounce some ideas off of you as far as gear is concerned.
I love
So
it.
yeah, I've got one final race of the year, mostly because we've got a bunch of stuff scheduled and I'm traveling a lot. It's called the Giro San Francisco. It's on the Embarcadero in San Francisco, or
That's
just off of
crazy.
it. Yeah, it's just off of it. So you're not on the main
Okay.
strip because there are
Sure.
train tracks and there's trolleys everywhere
Yeah.
and tourists. You can't do that. But there's basically, it's like a 6-corner, maybe like an 8-corner crit. It's actually somewhat technical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners. It's 6 corners, not 8 corners, right? Or it might be more than that. But anyways, it's about a mile long. There's basically one pretty punchy and steep 30-foot climb, and then you've got a fast descent into a double right-hand sweeper. I
This
raced it
sounds
last
like my
year.
nightmare. I wish you the best.
Yeah, I mean, I got to do this. This is something that I wanted to do last year because I pulled out last year as my first crit in a really long time. And I watched a crash happen in front of me and I just got spooked and I felt bad. And so I told myself, I'm going to train and train and train. And this is going to be my main race of the year. Well, I have not trained enough. And I'm going to blame that on everyone else. I have not had the time to train, which isn't entirely true and untrue. So I won't be able to perform with the fitness that I had hoped for, but I can try and make up for it with gear. So I'll tell you what I had last year.
I'm seeing a theme here. Last time we talked about a TT where you
Procrastination. I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Wahoo.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm not the only person with that. Okay,
No.
so last year I did it on a Canyon Air Road. Did it completely stock, 28 mil tires, stock handlebars, and it worked fine. The pavement there is actually kind of choppy, and there are train tracks that have been filled in, but they're train tracks. So I think I want to make a change there. I have different bikes this year. So I still actually have that Canyon Air Road because that 6-month review has become a year-long review, which should come out pretty soon. I've got that. I have a Factor Monza. That review should be coming out pretty soon as well. I've had that for the last couple months. Which great bike. We've talked about it. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's basically Factor's second tier race road bike, I would say.
I mean, it's basically a crit bike, right?
Kinda, but it's a little bit more upright than what people would want from a standard crit bike. At least as far as the fit geometry is concerned, but I don't really have that as an issue. I have my own personal specialized tarmac, SL8, which has 11-speed Ultegra Di2 because I built it up that way, and works a-okay, but it's also it's almost the heaviest bike here. So I guess the first question is, what bike do I bring in your opinion, Josh? And then we'll talk about wheels because I have different wheels to bring too, and tires.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm leaning between the Air Road and the Factor. I mean, it's just part of our job is a matter of like, yeah, you might want to, the SL8 would be great, but that's a known factor. I think there's a more interesting story here to be like, I took this new bike that you don't know as much about, and here's how it performed.
Yeah.
So the Air Road, the Monza, that's probably where I would go with these. Yeah, I don't know. Something to me calls to the Monza. I'm not sure exactly why. And maybe I was wrong about that being like their crit bike, but I kind of thought that was their crit bike.
It's supposed to be like the race bike for people who aren't sponsored, is what they were calling it as. But that also means it's got slightly more upright geometry, has a down tube storage hatch, which is cool. And also the price point's lower, which in the US, shockingly, it might be good value for money. I've never thought I'd say that
Crazy.
about a Factor. Yeah. Like I never thought I'd say that, but the one I would say weakness of that bike would be its wheels, which are pretty heavy. They're like 1,600 grams. They're 45 mil deep, 21
Yeah,
mil
that's heavy
internal.
for a 45. Oh, a
Yeah,
21.
yeah.
Folks, if my advice, I get asked this a lot. If you're like, I don't know what wheel to get, look for the widest internal that like fits your price point. That's
That
what I
fits
always
the
say.
tire that you want to fit too. Don't forget.
Yeah, sure.
Don't forget ETRTO.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Although
here's
I ignore that. Don't do what I do, but I run 25s on or 28s on 25 internal all the time.
unfortunately among other things that we will not bring up that you point pedals. The Factor Monza. So I'm thinking Factor Monza. I just got Specialized sent over a set of their new Rapide wheels. So thinking of putting those on and then putting on some 30 mil Conti archetype tires, which feel incredibly fast and they're 30 mil wide.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna put on Specialized wheels, should you not be putting it on the SL8?
I mean, I could. I'm thinking the Revolve wheels because so a few weeks ago when I did that time trial, I did the aero testing with all those wheels. The Magine XR DB508 Ultra wheels that I had happened to test the fastest in this situation. And those are good wheels, I think. The reason I'm hesitant about them is because they have really thick bladed carbon spokes, which with a 28 mil tire do not ride great. And this is 45 minutes. It's going to be fairly rough in some spots, like the pavement's uneven. And
Sure.
I can just deal with it. But also if I can go slightly wider, I kind of want to.
I mean, I
I
think that's the trend here.
Yeah. If anything, I'm considering running a 32, actually, because I've got a set
I
of
mean,
32 in
I
the
was
tire
kind of
station.
shocked at how like I didn't feel at all held back by the 32s on the Colnago when I rode that. It just
Yeah.
felt like whatever. It felt the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a couple watts difference in my experience, like at a 25 mile an hour speed, which I will be going faster than that, hopefully. But like, you know, it's important. So here's what I'm thinking based on your recommendation. So Factor Monza, Revolve Rapide CLX3 wheels with the archetype tires. Am I missing
I mean,
anything?
that sounds like a solid, and that's like a okay. Let's apply this to what we can help people with, right? They're like, okay, I want the race bike, but I can't. I'm looking for something a little less expensive than the SL8 or the. Well, how's the Monza compare to the Air Road?
As far as price is concerned, it's actually like because the bike that I have here is a SRAM Force model
Yeah.
at $7,000 with the double
Okay.
sided power meter. Canyon Air Road, if you're getting a CFS LX, it's a little bit less expensive, has DT Swiss wheels. It's actually pretty like value for money is like not bad with that Factor, at least here in the US. It's shocking. I don't think I'll ever say that about a Factor ever again. The value for money is pretty good, but it feels like it's pretty decent here.
All right, so let's say my person that I'm imagining, they bought the Factor because it was good value for the money. It has these wheels that are not so great,
Yeah.
and over time they have upgraded the wheels, and those Specialized wheels would be a fantastic upgrade. So that kind of all makes sense. Like that would be a good test for what someone might actually do in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. So, okay. I think I'm not settled because I want to do some aero testing. I want to see how much I lose between a 30 and a 32 mil tire when I'm going faster. But I think we figured it out. And yeah, okay. And I'll report back in 2 weeks or whatever the heck.
And I would imagine I have not done crits, but I have done lots of time trials. And like I said last time, you should ride a time trial at the edge of throwing up. And I feel like maybe you should do that for crits too. And so give it your all, Alvin.
Dude, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Because I did a crit earlier this year and I thought I had 1 lap to go, or I thought I had 2 laps to go, but turns out it was bell lap. And I had a lot more to go. I looked at like my finishing heart rate, and it was at like 155 at the end of the race, which is just like ridiculous.
Here's what I hope for you, Alvin. I hope when you get back, when you finish and you save the ride, you're let's see, you're running the chorus. I don't know if the chorus does that, but
I have
says
no idea
like,
what computer I'm going to be doing, but yeah.
New max heart rate is.
Oh, brother. Okay, I've definitely had that in a crit, but yeah, I appreciate that. Well, anything else I need to consider? You think I should be doing for this crit? I'm not changing my kit. I'm not doing a one piece. Everyone wants me to do an aero suit. I can't do it. I've got a team. I have to wear what they're riding.
Oh God! Here's the thing about the one piece suits, just in general. Everyone looks terrible. Like everyone looks terrible, but I would rock that in a second just because.
If I could, I would. But I don't have one in my
shoe
closet.
Covers. How about shoe covers? It's only 45 minutes. You could gain a watt there.
What do I do that? Do I use like the Velo Toes ones? Wouldn't that make my feet hot?
Yes, that will make your feet hot, but they will be faster.
Okay. I do have a set. Maybe I should.
Yeah, the Velo Toes ones would be perfect, actually.
Do I want to be that guy showing up to the starting line of a Cat 4 race?
Absolutely.
With a Velo Toes,
no shame.
Dude? I don't know.
No shame.
Yeah, I'm
just
doing it for you
one
guys.
note about the Velo Toes. If you do test them ahead of time, you gotta like baby powder them or something so that they don't weld themselves together.
Oh, in general, like to one another as opposed to the shoe.
Well, and inside of them, like they'll stick to them, because they're a circle, right? They're a tube.
Yeah.
So they'll stick to themselves. And I don't know if it'll happen immediately, but I have definitely like worn Velo Toes in a winter and then gotten them out next winter and found just like this like gelatinous piece of silicone that
I'm
you
out,
can't
dude.
like
You
do
said
anything.
Gelatinous. I can't do that.
There's no chance.
There's no chance now. I can't do that. All right. Anything else I need to consider? I'm not changing my helmet.
Yeah, I was just gonna say your helmet's not changing. You got that Scott that you love, so
yeah,
that's a good helmet.
Yeah, hopefully, I want them to sell the white version here in the US so I can pick one up. But
yes, white helmets, white shoes, everyone.
yeah, just like those Shimano S-Phyres.
Speak. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'll report back. Hopefully, it goes great, and hopefully, I don't crash. Anything else you want to talk about that's on top of your mind, Josh, before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. Right now I am deep in Made, so you can look for lots of coverage on that. There's we're doing individual bike check sort of posts so that each bike has a time to shine. And I basically do that until it becomes too late in the week for them to be relevant anymore.
Yeah, amen. And the bike launches are starting to pick up again. So I can't say what's launching, but I've got a bike in my garage that I'm really excited about and is extremely lightweight and is super fun to ride, but we'll talk off camera. And you will wait until the embargo lifts. Let us know what you think your favorite bike from the Made show was. See our coverage below. If you're feeling really feisty, let me know what I should be doing for my crit as well. Thanks for listening to the Velo Podcast. 5 stars, 5 stars. We'll see you on the next one.